Yes. 23B, can you please switch off your mic for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
22B, please switch off your mic. 23B, there was some sort of disturbance when your mic is on. So,
No problem. After the entire argument is being placed by the opponent, I would switch it on later. Till
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
is it okay if I keep the video on?
Yes, you have to keep your video on, but now, even now, there is a lot of disturbance with the mic.
You can't hear me, or is there any sound related problem?
There's an additional sound in the background.
Additional sound. Okay, I'll just check on.
Yeah. Judges, are we good to go with the next round?
Yes, proceed.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. 22A?
Yes.
Yes. Uja, please give the timing.
Yeah. 22A, you may begin in 3, 2, 1, start.
Okay. Dear friends, most of us today on this platform belong to a very noble profession of law, which permits us only to believe in certain facts and not fictions. There are certain facts which makes me believe that this COVID-19 is a pandemic and not a biowarfare, which I will be discussing subsequently. But before that, let us quickly understand what pandemic really means. Pandemic, I think, is an assessment. It is nothing but when a disease spread all over the world or over a wide region, we call it a pandemic. Shakespeare once said, "What is past is prologue," which means looking back can help you look ahead. So let us start our fact check by taking the historical aspect first. In the human history, there have been number of particularly significant epidemics. My dear friends, here I mention epidemics because back then transportation, mobility of masses was not so significant. So the spread of disease was confined to a small region. For example, plague of Athens and the Black Death of 14th century. But without going much back into the history, even if we consider the past century, we can witness a series of pandemics. For example, the Spanish flu, the Hong Kong flu, the Asian flu, and most recent swine flu of 2009. So the claim that COVID-19 is a means of biowarfare stands false, because we it is not like that we humans are not had not encountered with an epidemic earlier, and we obviously it is most severe of all. But it is law of nature that evolution. There is nothing like reverse evolution. So let now I will move to biological aspect. The ability to reveal the evolutionary history of a virus has helped scientists to reveal certain conspiracy theories. For example, it was said that COVID-19 was manufactured in a lab to be used as a bioweapon. A March 17 article of Nature Times made this argument that by comparing the genomic structure of COVID-19 with all of its related family members, and also SARS, MERS, as well as strains of isolated animals such as bats or pangolin. First, it was said that the superstructure or the underlying structure of COVID is not similar to the coronavirus earlier studied. Also, moreover, a bioweapon specialist who wanted to have wanted to have a massive impact of a biowar. But this isn't what someone who wanted to pick because it has different strains as possible. Now I will move towards next aspect, that the most people think why this COVID-19 is not considered as a pandemic is that hesitation of World Health Organization in declaring it as a pandemic in the first instance. But this is what Director General of WHO, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus said, and I quote, "Pandemic is not a word to be used lightly. Rather, if it is used misappropriately, it can cause unnecessary fear among the people. But certainly, depending or seeing about the severity of the disease, it was declared a pandemic. A World Premier Health Organization declared COVID as a pandemic, so I don't think any other clarification or certification is required. Next, we will consider economic aspect. Many people think pandemic as a biowarfare or most appropriately a economic warfare just because certain countries, especially China, is extending its investment all over the world. But what we are unable to understand here is that China is just being opportunist, nothing else. And even we should do the same because we all are in it together and we must find a solution to get out of it. Next, I will be covering the humanitarian aspect. This pandemic has devastated the economy of many small nations who had their total dependence on tourism. Even large nations are not exception. India herself in hard times is still keeping up the spirits of humanitarianism high. It is not just India, but all our large economies around the globe are providing such humanitarian help. So I personally think that if this would have been a biowarfare, many nations would have hesitated to provide such help in the first instance. So this COVID-19 had shown the kind of solidarity the humanity is capable of in bringing about a positive change for a greater society. Even countries like India, who are itself facing difficult times, is still keeping up the spirits of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Last but not the least, the fact that Chinese government tried to suppress the whistleblowers who they tried to warn the people about the virus, and also the place of origin, that is Wuhan, is now back to life and back to normal, but rest of the world is still suffering. And even there are countries like India which are yet to reach the peak number of cases, which makes us think that this COVID is a conspiracy and not a and not a pandemic. But what we must remember is that, my dear friends, China is a single party communist regime and it is not a democratic country. It is a country which does not even recognize the number of martyr soldiers on border. So how can we expect China to disclose its active number of cases as well as death due to COVID-19? So the fact that COVID-19 is a pandemic once again holds true. Although this COVID-19 or this pandemic has wrecked all the human species, rest of the environment is blooming. Birds and animals are back into cities. Mother Nature is reclaiming her environment. This COVID-19 had taught us the importance of health and nutrition. It taught us the importance of health workers and our security forces. It taught us that senior citizens must not be isolated, rather, they must be kept engaged. It taught us that we can even work as well as study from home. However, the fact remains that whatever be the origin of outbreak, be it accidental, be it natural, or be it deliberate, we as a whole, as a society, need to prepare ourselves to prevent, mitigate, or face the consequences of pandemics. My dear friends, at last, I would just like to say that we can't change the direction of wind, but surely we can adjust the sail. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, 22A. Please keep your video on, but switch off your mic. Okay, 22A. 23B.
Am I audible and clearly visible?
Yes, you are. Just a minute.
Judges, is she audible to you? Judges, Anagha ma'am, Rupa ma'am.
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
A very hearty good afternoon to the wonderful presentation by Today's representative topic against the motion is COVID-19, a pandemic or a biowarfare. So presently COVID-19 has become a part and parcel of human life. As we wake up and we sleep with the same news regarding COVID-19. So to understand this, I am advocating it for the citizens of the globe that what exactly is the origin of this virus, and to the citizens of the globe who deserve an answer for the devastation, destruction caused, which has led to so many deadly results out of it. So to understand what exactly the problem is, we need to understand the definition of biowarfare, which would be given by
23B, sorry to interrupt, but could you please place your mic closer to you because the voice is low.
Is this
Yeah.
okay right now?
Judges?
Shall
The voice is still not clear.
It's not clear. Right now?
No, I'm sorry.
She is not audible.
23B, could you try removing your earphones and then try once? Maybe I guess it's because of the earphones.
Okay, should I
Just try removing your earphones once.
But then it would be on the speakers. Right. I don't think it is going to work that way because it's not that clear for me either. Hello.
Judges, if we could have any signal from your end.
Can I just sign in like this through a cell phone then? Should I just switch it to the cell phone if it's okay?
If you could do it in next 3 minutes, please.
Yeah, in 3 minutes. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying. It's happening here. Just a second. Can I just switch off here and then sign in because there's a connectivity issue here.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you're
You
right.
have 3 minutes. Your time is already on.
Can I just continue with this? If I'm audible to that judges?
No, 23. Okay. Rupa ma'am has said that it's okay.
Okay.
Yes, continue. Yeah, continue.
So shall I start again? I'm so sorry regarding this issue. It was working prior to this, but suddenly happened.
No, your time was already paused, so please continue from where you had stopped.
Okay. So this is the question raised. It is for the citizens of the globe to understand that what has led to such a devastation across the globe. So firstly, I would like to define the definition of biological weapon given by the World Health Organization itself. So what is a biological weapon? According to the World Health Organization, a microorganism which includes viruses, bacteria, toxins released deliberately so as to cause death and disease in human beings, plants and animals is what the definition given by World Health Organization. So when we analyze this definition, we can see that this clearly means that there is no need of a ballistic missile or a bombing system as such to particularly have this all around the globe. So like for example, a targeted country which releases a missile and then a germ is spread. No, mere spread and intention to spread is enough when we interpret this particular definition. So the second point which I would like to say here is that COVID-19 spreads through human to human transmission. It is a communicable disease. And when we try to understand that it is a communicable disease, it clearly means that its spread is very easy. And from this, I would like to point out a very important convention, which is the biological biowarfare toxic weapon convention. So this toxic weapon convention recently happened, wherein India was a party to this convention. And in this convention, they were discussing about COVID-19 and its effects across the globe. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was participating in this particular discussion. And the ministry said that we need to have the countries across the globe should have a unison against this particular topic. So why were they discussing COVID-19 in a convention for biowarfare? So this is clearly visible that they have a high suspicion of it being considered as a biological weapon. Then the very second point which I would like to quote is that right now whatever discussions are happening are highly based on the intellectual sitting in the WhatsApp university, or else we are having the circus media around. So those discussions, I don't think this platform is, this is a very respectable platform to have such baseless discussions. So the very first discussion which I would like to quote, and I was surprised to read it, was the discussion which happened in the Journal of Annals of Transitional Medicine. So this discussion which happened regarding the COVID-19, this discussion reads that COVID-19, the researchers themselves say that what is COVID-19? COVID-19 is a lethal weapon, and they have divided this discussion into 5 points, wherein they talk about the incubation period, and then they talk about the micro and macro vascular thrombosis, remission, and also the death of the patient happens after all the sufferings. So either the patient survives ultimately or the patient dies. So if the patient survives, there was a research conducted that 94% of the patients who survived, and when they were taken to the hospital for a CT scan after it was noted that they were negative, still there was a remission of the virus inside them. So this residue clearly means that this is not entirely eradicated out of the body. Then a very important convention, which is the 73rd World Health Assembly, which recently we had a discussion on the panel there as well, where there was a resolution passed in that assembly itself. And what the resolution said was that all the countries need to come together for a global investigation platform. And my respectable fellow mate just quoted the World Health Organization's chief director general's comment, wherein he says that he also is a little bit taken back by considering as a pandemic, because he sits in the council here. Hello. Yeah, he sits in the council of the World Health Assembly and says that yes, we need to take into consideration the investigation on the investigation regarding this being a biowarfare or not. So basically, when we talk about this, when we're talking about the councils having a suspicion, so I think it deserves a point to be taken into consideration that this is a biowarfare. We need to, and if not, then prove it. Why are you so into like claiming it when the research is not being conducted? Like clinical trials are in progression and you start commenting on the trials. What does this mean? It is clearly not digestible that when the trials are going on, you're just buffing around. No, firstly, derive a conclusive statement. Firstly, derive the conclusion. Like as far as we being 11, 12 science students, we know that first when we conduct an experiment, before the conclusion, we don't start talking about the entire experiment. So the second point which I would like to say is that why not the Biological Weapon Convention is used as a platform to initiate a discussion on this. So this is what I wanted to say. It's very important that there is a resolution need to be passed and investigate into this matter, because this has shattered all aspects of human life, and it would be very ignorant on the part of the citizens to just claim it to be natural when there are chances of it. Why not we trace the zootonic origin of the virus? It is very important to trace the zootonic origin. It is not possible without tracing the zootonic origin, buffing around with all these researches. And very important point which I would like to state here is that right now, presently, what is happening in Indian scenario? Recently, we had a All India Bar Council writing to the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India, regarding this pandemic. They blamed it on China and they were asking for amendment in section 86 of the Act, so, Civil Procedure Code. So why was this amendment act? Actually, amendment, okay.
Thank you, 23B. I would request 23A to join us back for your 2 minutes of rebuttal.
Should I start?